upgraded in any way. Odyssey was holding her right shoulder.
The Indiana Fever finally broke through with a long-awaited playoff win, something fans have been craving for years. But instead of the spotlight shining where it belonged, on Lexi Hull's clutch game-sealing steal, Kelsey Mitchell's steady scoring, and Aaliyah Boston's dominance in the paint, the headlines took a bizarre turn. The focus shifted to a heated moment involving Sophie Cunningham and a league-hired security guard. Sophie, sidelined with a bulky leg brace and clearly nowhere near game-ready, wasn't trying to run onto the floor or cause any issues. Yet the guard treated her like she had stormed the court in the middle of a fight, barking orders in a way that stunned fans and players alike. In this video, we'll unpack exactly what went down, including what Sophie said that has people talking. But first, do you think Sophie was unfairly targeted?
Oh, Sophie, you're like that? Yeah, Chloe, she's like that. She's like that. She ain't moving. Oh, and then she puts her hands on the... Let me talk to your manager. Oh, shit. All right, so say no more. Say no more. Now, when your teammate gets injured, you're allowed to hop on the court and just to see if your teammate's doing good. So, injured, healthy. So, Chloe, Sophie, they had every right to be on the court over it.
Here's the question everyone is now asking. Was this simply an overzealous overreaction from a clueless rent-a-cop? Or was it part of a much larger, troubling pattern we've already seen in the WNBA, where certain players are targeted for not fitting the league's preferred narrative? When you step back and look at the history, it's hard not to feel like Sophie Cunningham was deliberately singled out. What stood out most was her response, calm, steady, yet undeniably defiant, making it clear she wasn't about to be intimidated by a glorified hall monitor. The timing made it all the more surreal. The Fever had just delivered a dramatic playoff victory, despite missing Caitlin Clark and nearly half their rotation. Players like Ari McDonald, Sydney Carlson, Chloe BBY, Dyrus Danas, and Sophie herself. The crowd was electric, the team was celebrating, and the atmosphere should have been pure postseason joy. Instead, fans were left with the bizarre sight of Sophie, leg brace and all, standing at midcourt while being aggressively confronted by league security. For no violation, no scuffle, no reason at all.
Why in the F is that security guard all up on Sophie Cunningham? And look, I think there is a reason she got up in Sophie's face, and I don't think there was any need to sort of bow up to Sophie like that. I don't think, and to Sophie's credit, she did not back down at all.
Think about the optics for a second. Sophie Cunningham, clearly injured, strapped into a bulky leg brace, and unable to sprint even if she wanted, was leaned on by a security guard seemingly determined to escalate a situation that didn't exist. The cameras caught every second. Sophie's face shifted from puzzled to irritated, to that signature Cunningham glare fans know well. It was a look of someone silently asking, "Really? This is what you're doing right now?" And she had every reason to give it. The clip exploded on social media almost instantly. Within minutes, Sophie's Staredown was trending, sparking a wave of outrage. Not because she lost her cool, she didn't, but because fans could see with their own eyes how unnecessary the entire confrontation was. This wasn't rule enforcement. It was harassment, and it fed right into the frustrating narrative Sophie has carried her entire career, always cast as a villain.
So Odyssey Sims goes down hard, and Sophie Cunningham, Caitlin Clark, Chloe Bibby are waiting for her at half court, and the cop tries to get Sophie Cunningham to move. Sophie Cunningham was like, "You're not going to get me to move. I'm waiting for Odyssey." And you can see during the review, look at Sophie Cunningham clapping, not moving, waiting for her teammate. That's the Fever for you.
Why? Because Sophie Cunningham doesn't toe the WNBA's party line. She's outspoken. She challenges narratives. She's confident, unapologetic, and refuses to shrink back just because others want her to. And for that, she's been treated differently by rival fan bases, by media voices, and now, apparently, by the league's own staff. This is the same Sophie Cunningham who trends on social media regularly, whose highlights rack up clicks, and whose fan base is among the most passionate in women's basketball. She's good for business. But instead of celebrating that, the WNBA seems determined to cast her as a problem. The backlash online was immediate. Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube lit up with comments. Many argued, Sophie gets treated this way because she doesn't match the league's preferred image. Others pointed to the racial and cultural double standards at play. If Angel Reese or Paige Buchers had been in Sophie's exact position, the narrative would have been flipped. Look at their passion. Look at their leadership. But with Sophie, standing there in a leg brace, suddenly she was framed as an issue. Fans weren't buying it. Within,
Folks, I didn't realize how much fun I would have watching these people break down. It's a meltdown. It's a meltdown on Twitter today. It's embarrassing to a certain extent. Not for me, for them. And then we got the Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever getting booed as they're getting off their court.
And here's the kicker. Sophie never escalated the situation. She stood her ground, didn't back down, but never lost control either. She held her space, gave that signature glare, and refused to be bullied. In short, she showed more professionalism than the very security guard who provoked the confrontation. That's why the clip went viral. The drama didn't come from Sophie. It came from the league. And this isn't an isolated case. We've seen similar moments before. Remember when refs felt uncomfortable with Dane Carrington and security had to step in? The league rushed to defend Carrington. The Players Association rallied. Media outlets framed it as unfair treatment. So why the silence now when Sophie faces the same situation? Why is it only fans calling out the double standard while league leadership looks the other way?
Check this out right here. Yeah, you see this guy right here? Right in this Gentile area. Let me just, you see this guy? The ref asked this dude to step out here. All right? Now, Cheryl Swoops wants this referee fired. She wants him fired. Look, he felt something. He felt something was amiss. Of course, Cheryl Swoops is defending Dejanay Carrington.
This isn't just about one overzealous security guard. It's about a deeper, ongoing problem in the WNBA. What happens to players who don't fit the league's mold? Caitlin Clark has been living this reality since her rookie season, taking hacks, shoves, and taunts on the court, while officials swallow their whistles and the league turns a blind eye. Sophie Cunningham, meanwhile, has been cast as the villain for years, no matter what she does. Put those two storylines together and a troubling trend emerges. The WNBA doesn't know how to handle stars who refuse to fit its preferred narrative. Instead of embracing them, the league marginalizes them. And here's the irony. Both Clark and Cunningham are exactly the kinds of players the WNBA should be celebrating. They're marketable, magnetic, and they fuel engagement. Sophie sparks conversation, even while sidelined. Clark is the single biggest draw in women's basketball history. Yet rather than protect them, the WNBA allows referees and staff to mistreat them. Fans notice, and their frustration isn't just with one incident, but with the league's entire approach.
Hate Sophie Cunningham because she's white, she's beautiful, all these things, right? Let's keep it real. Let's keep it 100, as they say. Sophie Cunningham's the most beautiful woman in this league. All right, she's the hottest woman in this league, and they're mad they can't be her.
The fallout was swift. Within hours, fans flooded comment sections, blasting the WNBA for embarrassing Sophie during what should have been a moment of pure celebration. Many pointed to the league's history, like when it investigated fans for booing Angel Reese, or when it dismissed blatant flagrant fouls against Caitlin Clark as just part of the game. The pattern is the same: selective enforcement, selective outrage, selective protection. And every time it happens, the league's credibility takes another blow. This isn't just about optics. It's about business. The WNBA keeps insisting it wants growth, respect, and mainstream relevance. But you can't achieve any of that when your biggest headlines are viral clips of your own players being hassled by your own staff. Fans don't tune in to watch their stars silenced or sidelined. They tune in to see basketball played, celebrated, and respected, the very thing the league keeps undermining.
I completely underestimated the feelings that I would have watching all of the Indiana Fever haters crash out. All of the Caitlin Clark haters, all of the Sophie Cunningham haters, anything to do with the Indiana Fever, the people that are just so quick to hop on Twitter and say something negative, to hop on media and say something negative, to take credit away. I underestimated how good it feels watching these people crumble.
And this is where the story really snowballs. The more fans dissected Sophie's confrontation, the more they started connecting dots. They began pulling together the bigger picture, patterns of double standards, repeated mistreatment, and the league's ongoing failure to protect players like Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham. Suddenly, this wasn't just a viral clip. It became a case study in everything broken about the WNBA's leadership, officiating, and priorities. Here's where things shift from frustrating to downright revealing. Sophie Cunningham isn't just another injured player in sweats on the sideline. She's outspoken, fiery, and unafraid to push back against the league's carefully curated narratives. She doesn't bow to league-approved storylines, doesn't sand down her edges for media comfort, and refuses to play the role of a smiling mascot. She's not Paige Buchers, marketed as the league's chosen heir to Caitlin Clark. She's not Angel Reese, positioned as the controversy machine. Sophie is something the WNBA can't quite box in, and for that, she's been a target for years.
Poor Sophie. She got the contraption on. She looks great in a ball cap. Let's just keep it real. We're keeping it 100 here, as the kids say. And here we go. Right here, she's at mid-court, and then Paula Blart, mall cop. What are you doing? Well, I mean, what you doing? She got a leg brace on. For crying out loud. You come out here trying to be Brody and trying to do something, knowing damn good well. Look at this police officer sauntering up.
Here's the irony. The very defiance that makes Sophie Cunningham such a lightning rod is the same thing that makes her beloved. Fans connect with her because she's authentic. She's raw, unfiltered, and willing to say what others are too cautious or too afraid to put out there. That's exactly the kind of energy a league desperate for mainstream attention should be celebrating. Yet, instead of leaning into it, the WNBA seems intent on minimizing her impact. Just look at the marketing. How often do you see Sophie featured front and center in league promos? Almost never. And yet her name trends constantly. Her highlights rack up serious numbers, and her interviews circulate more widely than players the league promotes twice as hard. When controversy strikes, the contrast is even clearer. If Sophie gets into a dust-up, she's cast as a villain. But when Angel Reese does the same thing, it's repackaged as passion or swagger. Fans notice. They're not blind, and they're not stupid. So when a visibly injured, brace-wearing Sophie was aggressively shouted at by a league security guard simply for support of her teammates, that hypocrisy hit a breaking point. The conclusion became unavoidable, even if uncomfortable. Sophie Cunningham is being singled out,